Good evening and welcome to Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. This is a new venture for me. I'm usually doing a lot of work in the community and working with the youth and going to community events and activities and hosting events. It's been so much that has been done, in the community over the last 35 years in my life. And with COVID just taking place and all the quarantine and everything, I decided, to start a podcast. That's the thing now, where you can reach out to people in another way to network and just to get involved with people and to make a difference in the lives of others in the community. So that's why I'm here today. And I just wanted to. What was that? What? Yeah, I finally did it. I'm not going to lie to you. It takes a lot of time and thought to put together a podcast in terms of what you're going to talk about, and it's not as hard as I thought it was, but the biggest part to getting it done is to just do it. So today I want to briefly just put a brief show on here for podcasting, and the name of the show today we're going to be talking about is called Destined to Lead. Destined to Lead. Some of us are just destined to lead. I don't care what situation or circumstance we're in, we're always put in a situation to lead. My leading started years ago. About when I grew up in Brooklyn, in Brownsville, Brooklyn, and as a young girl, a young kid, I was always out on the block, getting involved, playing with other kids, even from other streets. You know, if anybody grew up in an urban city, you know that once you lived on a certain block or a certain area, that was your area, you know. But I used to venture into other neighborhoods and network with the other kids. I've always been a person or a spirit, a free spirit, to network with people, even as a kid. So growing up in Brooklyn, it was very exciting. We had a lot of adults. And now, that was back in the time where, I really missed that. We had the block association, what they call the block watch now. And, we had a lot of residents, adult residents that wanted to be involved in the community. They wanted to be proactive. They wanted to get their feet wet out there in the streets and make sure the community was safe and a viable place for the people that lived there. So I used to watch these adults, and it's very important. That's a very important thing because watching them begin to start teaching me mentally how to even look at organizing, how to even look at dealing with people. But as a 10-year-old, what I used to do is we used to have block parties and community activities. And being that I was outside all the time, I knew the adults. And when they were involved, I was one of the kids that, I said, oh, I want to help. What can I do? They say, okay, take some flyers and go all the way through the block and just give them out to anybody you see. So that was a very, very big thing for me. I get to disturb people I don't know just to see who they are and talk to them and have something great in hopes that they would be excited to receive and hear about. Oh, really? They're going to have a block party? They're going to have a block event? This is great. I'm looking forward to. Thank you, young lady. And it made me feel so much pride, in just the esteem and the passion that I had to want to do that. So I learned from these adults how to reach out to the people and not be afraid to approach people, even if they were not too approachable. Because when you're a leader, a born leader, you're a people's person. And not that you understand everybody's personality, but you're not afraid to be interested or investigate that personality and to try to get them involved. So even as a little girl, I was bold with the organizing. And then as I got a little older, I would say about maybe 12, 13 years old, my older brother, he always rented movies from the Brooklyn Public Library. And what he would do is he would rent these 8 millimeter films. Guys, remember that? Wow, that was old. I mean, he had the old film projector that he had to put the reel onto and feed the film inside of the video recorder or player, and then it would spin, and he would use the wall in the living room so that we could see it as a screen, because we had white walls or light walls, maybe beige walls or off-white walls in our apartment, and he would use that wall as a screen to show films, and they showed very well. You turn out the lights, you pop some Jiffy popcorn, and you got it going on. And that became very popular with a couple of friends of mine, because I used to hang out with a lot of kids. And one day, he happened to show a film while I was hanging out with a friend of mine. And we went outside and we started talking about it. Oh, we just got finished watching this film. And the next weekend, we asked them to show another film. And I had like maybe 4 or 5 more kids. And then after that, it began to get bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think my brother was delighted by that. And I did not realize that it was organizing them to do something. I mean, and we didn't have a lot of resources back then. We lived in a poorer community. It was an urban community. We had a lot of working parents. And, there was all types of residents that did things to make a way for young people to be able to get involved in something creative. And my brother, he was young because he's 5 years older than me, but he was creative. He was old enough to create something that the other young people could come to enjoy. And my mother, she opened up her 2-bedroom apartment and allowed it. And to make a long story short, he began what we call the Pacific Street Film Festival. And what it was is he would spend that week and write skits, like funny skits. And we were so excited, and I was popular, because everybody wanted to be in the Pacific Street Film Festival events and rehearse with me and hang with me. And, we rehearsed these skits so we could perform it before the other kids on the block when they came, in my apartment to see the films. So the first couple of events we had a lot of kids in a 2-bedroom apartment. My mother had to move furniture around, and we had maybe 20 kids in there. And it was so exciting because we got to, he put the spotlight on us in the living room, and we would perform these skits, and they would be funny skits, and everybody would laugh. And then we would watch whatever featured film that he got for us from Brooklyn Museum. And it was so exciting. And as we spent these weekends doing that, we started telling more people, oh, it was exciting, you should come next time. And one weekend, there was a line. I kid you not. We lived on the 2nd floor in a 4-story bedroom, a 2-bedroom, 4-story building. And the line was all the way down the steps. I threw the hallway out of the building. And my mom looked out the window and she said, what did he? I thought the kids were coming inside the house. I said, yeah, they are. They're at the back of the line. And she said, excuse me? I said, they're at the back of the line, Mom. And so she said, oh, no. Wait a minute. She went and opened up the apartment door and saw that there were kids from the 2nd floor all the way downstairs throughout the 1st floor out the building waiting in line to get in her apartment to see the film festival, to see the performance. But lo and behold, I was disappointed that weekend because she said, I'm sorry, it has gotten way too crowded. And we can't do this. This apartment is not big enough, and I don't want all these kids in here. I don't know their parents, so you're going to have to find another space to do this in. So we couldn't do it. And I was very, 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 very disappointed, because that was a show of how much something like that, an activity, was needed. These kids were thrilled to be creative. They were thrilled to come to a 2-bedroom apartment and cram themselves in there just to be a part of some exciting with performance and laughter. We lived in a poor community where when we came outside, we saw, violence sometimes. We saw drugs. We heard about bad things, murders and arrests and, police brutality. It was so many things that we experienced as kids. So you could imagine that moment that we got to sit in that 2-bedroom apartment on that second floor in that apartment building a moment in time, an hour or so, to have some fun, laughter, peace, and building memories together. Even till today, some of my friends, and I'm not going to tell my age, but that was a long time ago. But even till today, some of those old friends I'm still in contact with, through social media, still remember those times. And some of them tell me that they tell their kids about that time. And it makes them feel good, even though they weren't there. They weren't born. So I tell you this story because I just want to say that it's the people, the residents in the community, like my brother, that go unnoticed for the work and the things that they do to contribute to making people have happiness in their life, to making people have memories in their life, to making people have a moment in time where they could have some fun, laugh, and relax, and get an escape away from the reality of some of the things that were going on because we did not have the resources. And that's what Community Vibes with Brown Eyes is inspired from. I have a whole new platform, in today's time that can, open up a door for conversation, for activities even, so that people can come and get involved and create something new with people that they have never created something with before, that can be enjoyed by all, So that's what is the inspiration of Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. And it's very important that, to talk about these things with people who are not privy to be heard about. I want to interview some people. I want to interview, some people who started a dance group or a cheerleading squad, or a football team or a baseball team or a boxing, match with boys that want to learn how to box, in like we have in Newark, New Jersey. I want to talk to those people and talk about how important those activities are, not funded by the government, not bought in by somebody who has some type of funding. I mean, sometimes we get sponsorship from people who have money and want to give back to the communities, but these people literally take it out of their own time. They're not being paid for it for a long time unless they become popular and create an organization and they could create a job and an opportunity for themselves and others to create a nonprofit or something. But I'm talking about the people who have never gotten to that level, but they're still and always have been in the community creating, making things happen so that young people and their parents can get a break from some of the hustle, bustle, and some of the things that are not so, nice in the communities that we live in. We still have to work on those things. And I think that a lot of people are coming together, to create organizations and outlets like Community Vibes with Brown Eyes to express these things, to talk about these things, to get involved in activities, to inform the community, and most importantly, to be informed. This show that I'm going to have is going to be open to people to call in, to check in with me, to let me know things that I may not know that we need to discuss, and see if we can create activities or find resources, or organizations that can get involved to better that situation or create a whole new circumstance that's better for everyone in the neighborhood. So this Community Vibes with Brown Eyes is a great opportunity. I'm going to be on this show also with King T Finesse. King T Finesse is have been in Newark, New Jersey his entire life. He's a Newark native. My grandmother and my grandparents were Newark natives, but I was in New York when I was born, and somehow, the way the ancestors do it or the way God would have it, I ended up circle back in Newark, New Jersey, where my grandparents were born and raised, and somehow my grandmother got into New York, and now here I am back in the Newark, New Jersey community. But Community Vibes with Brown Eyes is not going to just be in Newark, New Jersey. I mean, I spend a lot of time in the area where I live at, in Irvington, Newark, New Jersey, and surrounding areas, East Orange and Orange, West Orange. But I also venture out. You might find me in Roselle. You might find me in Teaneck. You might find me. I'm always looking for a community event or activity that's beneficial or created, to help the community or resource the community so that I can see what people are doing, the ideas, that people are doing, to put them together, to have information for other communities, because each one teach one. They say that it takes a village to raise a child, but at the same token, it takes the village to make the environment to raise the child respectfully. So I want to be a part of that, and I must admit, there's room for a whole lot of people. Like Community Vibes with Brown Eyes is just one entity, one person. But there are so many other entities, so many other organizations, so many leaders, so many people that are out here that are coming together to create the bigger, the broader picture of what is needed in the community, because it's going to take more than one source. I know a lot of people would like to be the superhero, to have all the answers and save everybody's day in the community. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen that way. We need as many outlets as we can get, as many people as we can get involved. I mean, we're going to be talking about issues in the community. We're going to be talking about who the mayors, the council, women and men are in our community. Do you know some people live in a city or a community for years and don't even know who their assemblyman is, don't know who the assemblywoman is, don't know who the councilmen and women are, do not know who the mayor is, don't know who they can go to for certain resources. Now, I'm not saying that you have to go out to every meeting. It's nice to go out to the city hall meetings and, be involved, but at least be informed. And this is what Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, I'm hoping will bring to the community. With my experience with working in the community as a young kid, I did that with my brother, and then I wound up getting older and I got involved with different people and organizations and started organizing in the cities of New York City. From Brooklyn to Far Rockaway, Queens, to the Bronx, to Manhattan. I loved being in the street, giving out flyers, encouraging young people, talking to parents about activities that their young people can get into, being a resource, a person of information, to go out with information, to tell people, hey, this is here in the community, this is what we're doing, and we would love to have you. Because sometimes, kids come and they bring their parents out, but then sometimes the parents are looking for something for their kids, so they'll hear about it and they'll bring the kids out. So it works vice versa. Even though you work with young people, you have to work with the parents in order for the kids to be involved. And it takes the parents. And sometimes the parents will send a friend, a relative, an older sibling, or whatever have you. It's still bringing the community together so that young person or those young people or those adults can be a part of activities that will help to develop. Now, my specialty was working with young people, but I also worked and developed adults. A lot of adults want, something to be involved in. They want to organize too. They may not have the know-how to organize something on their own, but they want to do something. And that's where, Community Vibes comes in. We want to interview people who got centers, nonprofits, looking for people that want to come out and get involved, being informed of activities, inviting people out and talking about why we need this type of thing or whatever is being presented. Why do we need this in our community and what it's going to do to benefit people so they can have the right wording, the right information to send this information out to their fellow neighbors and residents and come out and get involved. So we're going to be talking to artists, performing artists. Oh, we got a lot of talent in our community. We got a lot of talent in our community, and people think that don't mean anything. But let me tell you something. When these young people and performers and young adults have a skill that they like to present, whether it's singing, dancing, rapping, acting, being an artist, or, just trying to be an entrepreneur, it takes them into a creative zone. They have a passion for it. They take time to go and write rhymes. They take time to go and write spoken word poetry. They take time to learn their dance routines. They practice. They become creative. And that is a very special thing that the community needs, because it's another resource to give young people and adults something to do, to take their time away from having nothing to do and being idle and maybe mischievous, because they're not all mischievous like people would think they are, but something to do to show their creativity. And not only that, but when they show their creativity, it helps them to feel good, to get that accolades, to get that applause, to be able to express to other people what they love to do and show their creativity. It makes them feel good. You want to know how I know? Because I was one of those young people. My thing was poetry. I used to write so much poetry when I was, 12, 13 years old, until one day, the hip hop thing started happening. I'm telling my age now, but it's okay. I'm still here and I'm thankful. I'm grateful and I'm blessed. But when I was young, I used to do poetry. And when I started, getting older, I went to a couple of parties and the people was on a microphone using, these poetry, this poetry to music. So I tried it out and everybody loved it. I was like, wow, they say you should try rapping, and I said, I don't know. Let me, I tried it one more time, with my poetry to music. And once again, people loved it. So I started writing raps. So the next time I said, I'm going to be ready. Next time I'm at a party in front of a microphone with some music, I'm going to have me a whole rap. And then I started doing that and people started telling me, hey, this is your thing. You should do this all the time. And I started rapping. I started meeting people. Like you would think, people say, they do that rap music, some adults, but I always did, the old school hip. We did political stuff, positive stuff. We rapped about being places that, you didn't expect a young black person to be. We was in the best places on Hollywood Boulevard, Windows of the World, on top of, the World Trade Center, Empire State Building and all that. We talked about being places, other than the neighborhood where we was when we saw a lot of oppression and depression. And believe it or not, people think music does not help the community, but it does. It really does. Because people perform and they network and they meet each other. As a producer of talent shows, in the past, that is my biggest, and a performer, that is my biggest way of networking with other young performers from other communities, relating to them and their parents about what their community, their block looks like, what they do or trying to do to change things, or how music helped them to keep focused and meet other people, travel, get opportunities to perform places that you would have never gotten a chance to see. So music means everything in our community. Another thing I love about New Jersey in particular, I know New York do their thing too, but in New Jersey in particular, I love the house music scene. I mean, house music is beautiful. I like any kind of music, really. Even though, I did my hip hop, I love music, period. I love any form of music that's especially sending a message out, to uplift people, to make them feel good. And when you go to these house music events, if you haven't been to one, if you have one in your neighborhood, they're really, the atmosphere, the love that you get there, you feel so much power from, African American people who love who they are and love the music, and you hear words of encouragement, in the music, and all these messages in the music, and then the drums and the energy of it all. You start, I tell you, I'm not gonna even lie. The last house music event I went to, I left that park soaking wet. I tell you, I did my 2-step all day long. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the message. I enjoyed the vibe. I enjoyed the music. And I loved the people. It was so wonderful. Music is everything. They don't have any type of events out in the community without getting a DJ, without setting up a boombox, without setting up some type of music. And a lot of times they do this house music in the park and they have a cause. The two that I recently went to was to make for breast cancer awareness and then prostate cancer awareness. So people create fun and excitement, but there's also a message and a cause, within this whole activity that's powerful for the community. Because yeah, I'm coming out to dance and there might be a couple of vendors there and I could buy a couple of things and I'm going to dance and I'm going to have a good time. But I'm going to also get some literature about breast cancer. I'm going to also meet some people from the health facilities to see, if I'm up to date with my checkup and my well-being, or find out some information that, about my health that I may have not known. So community events and activities is what keeps the neighborhood thriving, no matter what things may look like. It still gives people the opportunity to learn from people, from organizations, from business owners that are blessed to give back and want the community to be aware and involved and benefit from their success. There's so much going on in the community. And we're going to be talking about that on Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. And I hope that you come out and join us, because I'm really looking forward to it and would love to have you guys out there. We're going to have King T Finesse on here. As I stated, he's a music guy. He knows all the history of music. He have met, other artists. He has produced music for so many artists, including myself. All of my music, including the music for Community Vibes, will be produced by King T Finesse, who is a great producer who people need to hear from. He's a part of the community. He's a part of the networking. He's a part of the bringing people together to create beautiful sounds to make people feel good. And even if that's all an artist does, is lift somebody up to give them hope from a song that they heard and the message in the song, that's what it's all about. Everybody doing their part in the community with whatever gift that they had. If it's even painting a picture. I have a friend that hopefully she can join me on the show. She does artwork. And her artwork sometimes, well, I could say most of the time, artists, create artwork to create a message. And her art is powerful. When you look at it, you feel it deep within yourself. And you feel the message. And it makes you think and reflect about life, about history, about the past, about who we are and where we're going. So all these things are important. Leaders who have created their own nonprofits, who have hundreds of people who have benefited and are now trying to give that back to other people. So it's multiplied. You help 10 people and those 10 people went out, helped 10 more people. Now you got 20 people that's going to now help 20 other people, and then it becomes 40, 80, 120. Since COVID took place and quarantine took place, everybody went digital. So many things have happened. People have lost their jobs. People have lost their loved ones. People have lost their minds. So much tragedy, so much fear, so much political of things that went on in our streets. Protests, anger, hurt, pain, for real situations. And the community needs to talk. The community needs the outlets. The community needs to vibe. Not just in music, but in conversation. So that we can talk about these things and figure out how we're going to create bigger and better things, or things that's going to help us get through the things that we can't change. So I know I'm getting deep, but that's my passion. And when people have a passion about things, they get real deep. So, that's who I am, MC Brown Eyes, in the community, loving to see people come together to build, to reflect, and to grow. And that's what we're going to do here together on Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. If you're tuning in and you're hearing this, please look forward to the upcoming shows. We're going to launch it fully in the new year, but we're going to be having, a couple of mini shows to lead up to that actual full show. So thank you all for tuning in. If you're tuning in, please continue to. I have a Facebook page, Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, or you can go to the MC Brown Eyes page. I'm also on Instagram, Community Vibes with Brown Eyes, or you can like the MC Brown Eyes _ Ashabi, ASABI. MC Brown Eyes _ Ashabi, which is my African Yoruba name for Born with Culture. So thank you for tuning in for this first time show. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you have some input. Please feel free to come on my page, inbox me, ideas, thoughts, opinions. I'm open to them all. You have a wonderful time. And once again, thank you for tuning in to Community Vibes with Brown Eyes. Take care.